Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about why you shouldn't make yourself the center of attention much at all. This is something that even if you're not narcissistic or self-centered, the more you do this, it's going to make people get that impression of you. And that's why it's really bad behavior. As much as possible, you should strive not to do this, not to make yourself the focal point of conversation. And quite often when people engage in this behavior, they do it unconsciously. And it's usually because of insecurities. They're insecure about themselves, so they're trying to impress other people and basically make other people like them and approve of them to get validation from other people. So they end up trying to impress people, which inevitably makes them the center of attention because it's kind of hard to impress people without doing that. Most of the ways where people think of impressing someone usually involves making yourself the center of attention in some way because you're either talking about yourself or you're doing an action where you're trying to get all eyes on you, and that's how most people impress others. So if you are insecure about other people liking you, just let that go, because it's far better to approve of yourself and value yourself more than listening to the opinions of other people. At least in that way, you're not going to make yourself the focal point of attention and then have people thinking that you're potentially self-centered or narcissistic, even if you're not, because you probably aren't. I'm sure most of you, in fact 99% of you, aren't. So if people label you this way, it is not good, because that's not who you truly are. So you want to work on that insecurity first and foremost, if you do have it. And if you don't have it, then just try not to talk about yourself as much. Try not to make yourself the focal point of attention. Engage other people in the conversation. Try to get to know other people. See, one of the best ways for curing this behavior is just genuine curiosity in other people. When you become genuinely curious about others, you're not going to talk about yourself because you're going to be more curious about learning about them. So you're going to be asking them questions, you're going to be asking for more information on topics that you can tell that they're passionate about. You're going to be engaging other people in the conversation. But if you're trying to impress others, or if you only care about yourself, then you're going to make yourself the focal point of attention, and it's just not a good thing to do. Now, there's actually something interesting here where I've found in my own life, the more I got to know myself, the less interested I was in trying to impress other people or making myself the focal point of attention. I actually am almost at a place where I don't like talking about myself, because I know myself so well that anytime I'm talking about myself to other people, it's like I'm telling them things I already know about myself, and that bores me because I know who I am. I don't need to be talking about myself. So quite often I'll actually want to hear more about other people to the point I won't talk about myself much at all. It's become somewhat of a problem on dates, especially first dates with women, where I'll be asking them so many questions about them because I'm curious about them, trying to get to know them, that I forget to talk about myself enough to help them get to know me. In fact, there have actually been times where they literally notice that and they say, hey, you know, I've only been talking about myself. I don't know anything about you. I want to get to know you. Tell me things about yourself. And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. That's just what I do now. So if you work on yourself enough and get to know yourself well enough, you can probably get to that place as well and experience how funny it is where you just don't care to talk about yourself because you're so genuinely curious about the other person, so interested in learning about them and getting to know them, that you're naturally not going to talk about yourself, and you're not going to want or need the validation of other people, so you're not going to try to impress them or get their attention either, because you're not going to care for that. So it's a good place to be. Just remember, if people do actually ask you about yourself, then of course answer their questions. That's not narcissistic or self-centered. What I more of mean is where you're not being prompted and you're just consistently talking about yourself. Nobody likes that, so don't engage in that behavior. But whenever somebody's curious about you, of course, answer them and basically fulfill their curiosity. But anyway, I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!